Hey everybody, what's up? Today I'm so excited. Today I'm going to talk about your third eye awakening and sort of the 6 things that happened to me, just to give you a heads up. So I'm going to do 6 things that happened to me. I'm going to give you some tips for if you're going through it or you're interested in going through it. And I'm also going to send you some Reiki at the very end to help you to open up your third eye. Okay, so stick around if you're interested. My name is Alina. I'm a spiritual life coach, manifestation coach, and a Reiki master. Okay, let's dig in. Okay, third eye opening. I love talking about this kind of stuff. There are so many misconceptions out there about what that means. A lot of people, there's a lot of fear around it. There's a lot of kind of just weirdness around it. And I want to sort of clear up some things. Keep in mind, this is all my interpretation from my viewpoint, of course. Okay, so you might have your own experience, but this is what I experienced. So for me, it started in 2018 when I first did my Reiki class, my first Reiki training. I've always been interested in this kind of stuff. Even when I was a little kid, my parents used to get me books in the library about ESP and telekinesis. I loved the movie Matilda as a kid. Who didn't? And so I've always been interested in this stuff. 2018, though, a psychic had told me it really helps to awaken, open up your intuition, your third eye, if you get Reiki trained. So I was all about it. It made sense to me. Reiki is awesome because intellectually I could get behind it. It wasn't too woo woo, too out there. It's basically you're healing your chakras and you're using, we're all like electromagnetic energy. We're all just energy beings. So it's sort of harnessing energy and using that to heal your chakras, which can heal you emotionally, which can help you heal physically, spiritually, and all the things. So when I first started doing that, the first thing I noticed was I was getting these really intense sensations in the top of my head and then here in my third eye. And I didn't know what it meant. It felt like tingling, and then it would also get like sometimes it would be really strong pressure. And I really didn't know what that meant, but I knew I was excited about it. Now, when you go through Reiki training, depending on where you are in your journey, they say you can have like physical symptoms. Like some people get really sick after if they're like detoxing because you're allowing this new higher vibration to basically go through you. And if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, you're going to have to spend some time sort of detoxing and clearing that out. I had already at that point had a pretty healthy lifestyle, so I didn't really notice. Some people had really bad headaches, that kind of thing. What I did notice was, like I said, that really strong sensation in the top of my crown and my third eye, and then of course in my hands. It was like a heat coming from my hands. That's a very common thing with Reiki because you're activating energy. There's chakra systems in your hands, so you're activating that energy. So I remember at that point I was still really reliant on other people. I would go to a lot of different psychics, and I put a lot of faith in like whatever they told me. And I didn't at that point trust my own intuition. And I remember asking, like, oh, is this like, am I going to be psychic now because I'm feeling these sensations? And they kind of were like, well, yeah, it could be a sign that it's opening or whatever. But I was still really reliant at that point. So I was really new in my journey, basically. Okay, so the second thing that happened, and this happened throughout the years, throughout the last, I don't know, whatever, 6, 7 years. The second thing that happened was I got into meditations about your spirit guides. And I remember talking to other people about, like, oh, how do I know who my spirit guides are? Like, can you tell me who my spirit guides are? Blah, blah, blah. So, again, at that point, I was still relying on other people. I did some meditations and I wasn't fully aware of it, but I did keep hearing because you can ask in the meditation, what is the name of one of my spirit guides? And I remember I kept hearing the name Joseph, Joseph, Joseph. So I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, whatever. I've also been really interested in Native American history and very, very drawn to it and very attached to it. It's just something that's always resonated with me, and like I love researching the culture, um, and so that's something that's really cool. So for years, so I did that meditation. I kept hearing the name Joseph, then I kind of forgot about it. A few years later, I was working with a friend, and we kind of did it again, and all of a sudden, and this is when it started happening. I get these like lightning bolt moments where it's like I know that's my intuition now, and it's like it would come in, an idea would come in clear as day, and I saw this picture, and I heard the name Joseph again. So for whatever reason, I was inspired to Google because I felt like it was a Native American spirit. It was a man. He had two braids, and it was like from way back, like the 1800s or something. So I Googled, and there was a man named Joseph Two Bulls, and that's exactly what the image in my mind looked like. I had never seen a picture of this guy before, but like that when I found it, I was like, oh, that's why I kept hearing that name Joseph. So things will often, like, sometimes it'll come back to you years later and be like, oh, okay. Because I wasn't fully letting that door open. I was still skeptical and feeling like I needed to get confirmation from other people. So that was really cool. And it resonated with me because, like I said, I have a great, deep, deep love for Native Americans and Native American culture. Um, so he was a really cool guy, by the way, if you ever decide to Google him. Now, what I believe about spirit guides, this might be controversial or whatever, I don't know. I think it's really us and our higher selves, but because our human minds, we don't like feeling like it's us. We like having something that's higher than us, that's kind of out there, that's sort of separate. I think it's really just our higher self speaking to us, and we sort of need to put like an image or a label on it, and then we call them the like our spirit guide. But I do believe we all have a spiritual team of people. I think that your loved ones in the next world often want to help you. Uh, so that's just my take on that. Okay, number three. I my anxiety got like a lot worse, and this is where Reiki became very extra important because when you start really working on your third eye and your crown chakra, if you just only are focusing on that, you're just leaving yourself sort of raw to all the energy. Remember, we're all energy beings and we're very susceptible. It's like when you walk into a room and you get that weird feeling, like you feel like maybe somebody just had a confrontation or something uncomfortable happen. That's your intuition. That's your like, your intuitive sensors sort of going, whoa, like something's weird here. Or like when you meet somebody and they rub you the wrong way, or you just get like a weird feeling. You're like, I don't know what it is, but I don't like that person. That's that same thing. So if you're always working on these higher chakras and you're not grounding down, you are just leaving yourself out to be really raw and anxious in your anxiety because you're downloading so much information and your physical body is not able to deal with it, not able to handle it. So it's really important to ground yourself. You can do something as simple as envisioning a cord from where your spine, your sit bones, like where your spinal cord, going all the way down into the very core of the earth. And you can sort of let that sit for a few minutes, breathe into it, and then imagine pulling it back up. I like to pull it up to my heart because I think that the heart is really the connection between the, the higher realms and the earth. That's sort of that middle point. So I like to do that. And just even that image and that intention will help ground you. A lot of times this stuff will feel like it's your imagination because you have all these limiting beliefs in this programming that, like when you're a kid, oh, that's just your imagination. That's just your imagination. It's not. That's actually how it works. It's just that everything is sort of a metaphor. This world and the next and the higher realms. Everything is sort of a metaphor. So if you just do something as simple as that visualization and put that intention that you want to ground, you will. I was having that the other day. I was having a lot of anxiety and I didn't know what the heck was going on. But I said, can you please help me to ground and to sort of turn off all the downloads that are coming and like help to protect me? And it was like immediately my body went back to normal. All my physical symptoms of anxiety went away. It was like a switch. I think it's because there's so much going on right now, like politically and everything else in our world that sometimes we unintentionally are picking up on all of that energy. So setting that simple intention to like, hey, like I'm tapping out, like can we take a break? I need to like protect my own energy and ground, and that will work wonders. Okay, so if you're having anxiety, the other thing is anxiety will prevent you from further developing your abilities because if you're scared and you're not ready, your spiritual team isn't gonna like keep pushing you and like using you sort of as a vessel to receive information. But part of that's just the journey, and it's perfectly okay to feel that, and it's normal. And like I said, you just need to ask for the help. Okay. I'm using my notes so that I don't go off on all my tangents like I normally do. Okay, number 4. During meditations, because I started meditating regularly, finally, I knew that advice. I've been hearing it all my life, and I was really reluctant because I was like, well, I can't meditate just like everybody else. My mind goes all over the place. There's no way I can possibly do it. Okay, set the bar really low. First, if you just spend 10 minutes, like not on your phone and not looking at something or listening to something, but just like listening to the fan or something like that, even if your mind goes off 10,000 times and you have to keep pulling it back, you sat for 10 minutes. Congratulations, go you. Yay. Yay. If you like Portlandia. And you sat for 10 minutes and you were quiet and you weren't on your phone. Good for you. Good job. That's it. That's enough for today. Let's try again tomorrow. And each day it will get easier. So I would feel sensations during that. A lot of times people feel heat like on their face or tingling in their hands. For me, I know that I'm connected because when I'm meditating, because my head will start nodding like this. And if anybody is a fan of Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, when she is, I've seen her in person in Chicago. And if you watch her on YouTube, she's always doing this. When she's trying to get the connection at first, she'll be quiet and like she'll nod her head, kind of like, okay, I'm hearing you, I'm getting it, I'm ready, I'm downloading. So if you feel that, and it's totally like the first time it happened, it was like weird but really cool. Um, and it's like you're not controlling it. You're because I remember thinking I was like my head would be or like going this way. I'm thinking I'm not doing this. I'm not intentionally doing this. My head is literally just moving on its own, and it would do different things. And sometimes my hands will kind of do like this. Like it'll really get weird, get really weird, but it's also really cool. So if you just accept that and say like, oh, thank you, this is really cool, this is awesome, I'm excited to be receiving this, then you'll get that more and more. So that's something that happens. But yeah, a lot of times people will feel like tingling or numbness in their face or like heat in their face, that kind of thing. Those are all normal. Okay, number 5. I've always had dreams with my deceased loved ones, but they would become a lot more real. Like I just had one the other day where it was like my family was all in a room and it was with family that's alive and also deceased. And I could see the deceased family members and talk with them, and my other relatives that were alive, they couldn't. They'd be like, "Who are you talking to right now?" And I would have a full on conversation with my aunt and be like, why can't they, how come they can't see and hear you, but I can? And I would be having like a conversation. My brother who passed away, I saw him and he was saying how much he loves my kids and he loves watching my kids. Like it was a literal conversation. And I could remember it when I woke up, and I remember feeling almost like tired from having happy tears because I remember I was crying happy tears in my dreams. So that's something that's really cool when you can connect with your loved ones. And I think that when we're dreaming, we're just better able to, because our soul is kind of doing its thing, we're better able to connect with our loved ones. So that's really cool. And again, that's another one. You might talk yourself out of it and be like, oh, that was just my imagination or this or not. It's not. The more you trust and you know that this is how things are, because we're used to watching movies where things are really, fantastical. And I'm not saying that it can't be that way and it can't be really cool, but just acknowledge that it can be really simple, just like having a dream, and just trust that that is the real thing. And the more that you trust, I always say this is a two-way street. You need to develop trust with your intuition. The more that you do that, the more you're going to receive. If you're receiving little tidbits to make your day better and you're just brushing it off and saying that's not my intuition or I can't possibly do that, that kind of a thing, you're not building that relationship and you're not going to be able to take it any further. So always trust those little things so you can receive the bigger downloads. Okay. The next thing that happened was I did a breathwork ceremony. This was the coolest thing. If you're not familiar with breath work, it's basically someone is guiding you to breathe in a certain way in a certain pattern for a prolonged period of time, usually to music, and they'll change the patterns a little bit. So you might be like, probably not that fast, but you do that, for like a few minutes. Then they'll have you take some deep breaths and hold for a really long time, and then you'll go back to that breathing pattern. Sometimes people have physical sensations. They said I didn't experience this, but sometimes some people like their hands will curl up and they just have to, that's just your body reacting to breathing this way. And you just have to relax, maybe take a breath and it'll go away. Like go back to normal breathing for a little bit and it'll go back to normal. When I first started, it felt like I was like, oh my God, am I going to have a panic attack? But I was warned ahead of time that you might have those feelings and that if you push through, it will completely go away. And it did. And it was an awesome experience. And what I saw was this really big eye, and my eyes were closed, and it was like I could see it clear as day, as if my eyes were open. I could see every detail of this eye, and it was really big and it was really cool, and I was just loving that. I was savoring it. It was really cool. I felt like, oh, bing, like my third eye really, really kicked open. So that has been cool. And then since then I usually wake up at 4 in the morning every morning, and I will have sensations on my body, and I will like see patterns and lights and things like that, and it's really cool. And I'm like, okay, here we go, strap it in, we're going on a journey. I know that sounds really crazy, but That's usually, if you wake up during those times, try to tune in, because it might be your intuition trying to talk to you. There's something special about like the 3 to 5 a.m. time frame. I don't know. Google it. There's a ton of information. But yeah, it's this really fun thing. So now I look forward to it every day, and I'm like, ooh, what am I going to get today? And I'll receive kind of downloads, or a lot of times it's ways that I've been looking at things, or sort of limiting beliefs that I've had that have been blocking me, and then I become aware of it, and it's like, oh, thank you. That was really nonsense, that limiting belief that I had. Or there'll be just really cool like sensations, like I said, or really cool light patterns, or like stars, and it feels like I'm going on like a roller coaster ride or something. I remember that I had that when I was a child at nighttime. When I would close my eyes, I would see really cool things, and sometimes I would hear my name, or I would hear something, and I got scared because I didn't know what it was, and I was sort of taught out of it, like, oh, that's just your imagination, and you're just like, you know, to be scared of it, basically. And so I lost it for a long time, and then now I'm getting back to it. The other thing I want to say on that, that's just dawned on me, as I've gone through this meditation journey and this spiritual awakening, when I did certain meditations, which actually goes into one of my points, when I would do certain meditations, I would be brought back to this time in childhood when I was 9 years old, and we went to Jerusalem and Haifa as a family. And that happened about 3 months before my brother and I were in a really terrible car accident. That he had a severe traumatic brain injury afterwards, and he lived for 7 years, and like I'll take care of him. Then he passed away. So this memory that I had in Israel was, I realized one day in meditation, that was the last time I felt safe, because I was all excited about the plane ride, and this is so cool, and I was like, I want to live here one day and all this stuff, and I just having a good time. I was very, 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 very close with my brother, even though he was 7 years older than me. So it occurred to me that was the last time I felt safe in my body, and I felt, because after that I learned that the world was a scary place and that bad things can happen, and that was a really traumatic experience. And after that, I just kind of threw everything out of whack. Now, as an adult, as a mother, as someone that's going through the spiritual journey, I've realized like that's why that moment in time appears a lot in my meditations, because it was teaching me, like, go back to that time. Go back to that feeling when you felt like anything is possible and the world is safe and everything is okay. And I've had those feelings again that I have not had since childhood. Those feelings of emotional regulation, those feelings of nervous system regulation, the feelings of peace and excitement and trust and faith. I'm getting those back now, and it's been a very, very long time. So just know that if you are someone that feels often dysregulated and all of that stuff, you can get those feelings back. And it feels really great to be back there again. So when you go through this journey and you do more guided meditations and visualizations, and you do start opening up your third eye and you're able to visualize more easily, you will have really cool experiences in your meditation. For example, my brother, he always shows up whenever they say to call on a spirit guide. He always shows up in these meditations, and I always get tears streaming down my face, and I always have a smile on my face every time I do those kind of meditations. And it's cool because I know that I'm connecting with him. So those are things that are possible as you go through this journey. So number 7, another weird one. This is the last one. For a while, I would wake up and I felt like my whole body was vibrating, and I didn't know what that was about. I kept thinking, like, is this like a thyroid symptom, or like what is going on? The more that I have learned and the more that I've trusted it, now I see it as a really cool thing. It's actually that my energy field was literally like upgrading, and my vibration itself was upgrading, was improving. So I was getting that physical sensation of vibration. So do you see how everything is sort of a parallel and a metaphor? Um, that doesn't happen all the time, but it'll happen for like a couple weeks, and then, because we're always leveling up, this is a continual journey. We're eternal beings, so we're just going to keep going through these things. It's not like you get to the end of the road and then finally you've reached nirvana and you're the guru and you got it all figured out. There's always learning that's happening. So that's something that's really cool, and it just gives you, the confirmation that you are leveling up. Okay? So now we've gone through all those 7 things. So my advice, make sure to ground yourself while you're going through this. Don't just be focused on these upper chakras. You also need to ground yourself and work on those lower chakras. When you work on all 7 chakras, by the way, you're just going to speed up your journey. If you're only focusing up here, you're going to come across a lot of stumbling blocks and it's going to slow you down. So don't forget those lower chakras. They are just as important. I have to really stress the importance of that. In this world that we live in now, we used to be, hundreds of years ago, very grounded root chakra beings because it was sort of just survival and providing for your family. Now we're all up here on spiritual journeys and picking up on energy, and we've forgotten how to ground. So that would be my advice going into this. Don't forget that. That's very important. Another piece of advice, intention is everything. And if you put it out there and you ask for assistance, you will receive it. You've got, like I said, a spiritual team that's waiting for you to open the gate here. It's about intention and about asking. If you want to work on your third eye, if you want to be more intuitive, you want to trust your intuition, put it out there. Say to your spiritual team, okay, I am ready. I want my ego to step out of the way. I want to flow to receive the information. I fully trust whatever you give me, and I'm ready and willing to go. And when you do that, it's like, okay, everybody's ready, stuff starts happening, then pay attention. After you do that, pay attention because you'll get little signs and things like that along the way. And like I said, the more you pay attention, you're developing that relationship, the faster, the smoother everything's going to be for you. But it's all about that intention and asking for what you want. The other thing that happens is when you get the ego out of the way, all the things you're wanting to manifest will start like picking up speed, lightning speed. It's just that your ego oftentimes is blocking the way. So you're trying to think about how am I going to get there? How? We don't worry about the how. That's not up to you and your human monkey brain. Get your ego out of the way and just say, okay, I trust that you know exactly what I want and you know the best path for me to get there, and I am open and I surrender and I give it up to you, and I'm fully trusting, and watch what happens because the pathway is just gonna completely unfold for you at amazing speed. Okay, so let's see, grounding, intention, and don't forget to have fun with this. It's not, this isn't going to be like just all of a sudden like the sixth sense, like I see dead people. Like you're not just going to wake up. I've seen people get really afraid and blocking themselves because they think that's what's going to happen. Your higher self would not do that to you. It's a very loving thing. It loves you. It's not going to scare you. It's going to give you what you can handle at the time that you can handle it. So trust the process and don't be afraid. Try to not be afraid. And if you are afraid, go back to that grounding thing and let your spiritual team know, like, hey, this is a little bit too much. Can we reel it back a little bit? They listen to you. It's intention, okay? Lastly, I'm going to give you some Reiki to help you on your journey and to speed things up, to help you get your ego out of the way, to open up your crown chakra and your third eye, and to help you stay grounded. Okay, I'm feeling it pretty strong coming through my hands. Try to pay attention right now to the top of your head and your third eye. You should be feeling some sensations. That means you are well on your way. Ooh, I'm excited for you. I am seeing some white feathers for some reason, so I don't know. Maybe that's somebody's sign, or maybe that's your sign. If you see, pay attention. If you see white feathers, that is your sign right now that your message, your request was heard, okay? And that your intuition is well on its way. Also, pennies. If you see pennies on the ground, that's your sign. Could be one or the other, could be both. Just pay attention to that. But I'm sending you Reiki right now to make it smoother and easier for you, to make it faster, to make sure you feel safe because you're completely safe. This is very safe. Okay? Trying to see if there's any other messages. Out there, just trust. Okay. All right. Love you guys. Like and subscribe. And I'm out.